So, of course, the Golden Globes were yesterday, and I did want to do a reactions video to see where I think the Oscar race stands at the moment, and also what I think particular wins mean for that Oscar race. So, the night was dominated, of course, by the news that Bohemian Rhapsody shocked and won Best Picture Drama, which I certainly don't know anybody that was predicting that, at least awards-wise, and it is a big surprise. I don't think it means much in its Best Picture chances. I cannot, for the life of me, see Bohemian Rhapsody winning Best Picture. But the drama actor win for Rami Malek, I think, really helps him. I think he's now the front runner for the Oscar. I think he's overtook Cooper now, unfortunately. But it was a really surprising night overall, lots of shocks. I'll go through each category and kind of give my overall thoughts on those wins. So the first, Best Picture Drama, which was won by Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't think, as I said, I don't think it translates into much, but Bohemian Rhapsody is showing guild strength. It got that surprise SAG Ensemble nod. Today it got an Ace Eddie nomination, so that really helps its chances. It got the Art Directors Guild as well earlier, a couple of hours ago. So the film is certainly showing strength within the industry, as well as obviously the Hollywood foreign press are absolutely loving it. There is controversy around the film, of course, but whether that's going to mean much, we'll have to wait and see. But I think it's still not in the Best Picture race, but I think the overall strength of the film, and of course the reaction in the room to Malek winning and the film winning, show that there are people that like it a lot. And I know a lot of my friends that don't particularly watch too many films in a year, they all absolutely love Bohemian Rhapsody. So it's a film that has a lot of support, and I think it now has to be taken seriously as a big time Oscar nominee. I think it could end up racking up 6 or 7 nominations. I think an editing nomination is starting to look more likely. I think at this point now, I'll be surprised if it doesn't get a Best Picture nomination. But yes, it shows strength last night, and particularly it shows strength for Rami Malek. He was very confident in his speech, and he seemed to have a lot of support. I still think that the Best Actor race of the Oscars is very much up in the air right now. We have to wait for 3 weeks for SAG. I think Bradley Cooper is still somebody that is absolutely adored within the industry, and obviously the Golden Globes aren't voted for by the industry, but by journalists. So we need to see if the industry actors will go for Cooper or whether they'll go for Malek as well. Or there is now another contender in this race, which we'll go on to in a minute. But I think for now, Malek has to be considered the front runner, which if somebody said that to me a month ago, I wouldn't have believed them. But now I certainly think he's in the front seat. I think if he wins SAG, the race is over. I think SAG's going to be quite important. I think whoever wins SAG, I think will go on to win the Oscar now, because the race is so tight. But Cooper shouldn't be too disheartened. You know, Adrian Brody, Sean Penn, they all were lost at the Golden Globes, of course, and went on to win Best Actor at the Oscars. So there's still a precedent. But yeah, Cooper, it's a shame really if Cooper ends up leaving the Oscars empty-handed, as he did last night, which was quite surprising. But moving on to the other film, which showed a lot of strength last night, and that's Green Book, which won Best Comedy Musical Picture. I predicted it, and I'm not too surprised by it at all. I think it was the favourite to win it. I think it's the film that I can see a lot of people in the Academy liking, and I think it is now a serious threat to win Best Picture. I'm almost tempted to say at the moment, if I was to do my predictions right now, I would probably say Green Book is now the favourite to win Best Picture. I think the screenplay win was huge. It would be out a lot of tough competition, like The Favourite and If Beale Street Could Talk. Farrelly was never going to win director, but the fact he even made it into that lineup shows the strength that Green Book has. It made the Ace Eddie nominations today. DGA is going to be important for them. It's going to be interesting to see how it fares. If Farrelly gets in at DGA, I really think we have to now consider Green Book as a front runner. I think BAFTA nominations will be interesting as well. And obviously Ali won supporting actor, so that shows more strength. It showed that the Hollywood Foreign Press certainly liked it. We still shouldn't take too much stock in the Globes because it's a completely different voting pool to the industry awards and the Academy themselves. But the exposure that they get often helps, sometimes doesn't. When we look at Three Billboards last year, La La Land the year before that, these films swept the Globes and it didn't translate into an Oscar win for Best Picture. So sometimes the Globes can hurt, backlashes can start, and this could certainly be the case for both Bohemian Rhapsody and Green Book, which both have their critics. So they could both be harmed right now. And I do think that Green Book is the front runner as now I'm speaking, but in a week everything could be different. We could be back to A Star Is Born being slightly out in front. We have to wait really for more awards. PGA is going to be huge. DGA is going to be huge. We have WGA I think later today, so that's going to be important to see what can break in there. But anyway, for the actor category, as I said, Rami Malek won drama actor. Christian Bale beat Viggo Mortensen for comedy actor, which I did not predict, but it was a 50-50. And I think Bale is now stronger in this race. As I said, I've still yet to see Vice, should hopefully be seeing it very soon. I think Bale is now somebody that is well liked within the industry, and he's so transformative as he does with all his roles. I now think that Bale has to be taken really seriously as a threat. I think Viggo still has a long shot, but I do think this is a 3-horse race. If Cooper doesn't win SAG, he's out of this race, in my opinion. I think if Bale wins SAG, if Malek wins SAG, I think either one of them are winning the Oscar. And it's going to be quite interesting. As I said, Bohemian Rhapsody has support with SAG because it made SAG Ensemble, as did A Star Is Born, of course. But as we saw from the nominations, I don't think the Globes were all that into A Star Is Born anyway. I know it got 5 nominations, but Sam Elliott was snubbed for Sam Rockwell. It didn't make screenplay, whereas something like La La Land actually won that category. So I think there is a precedent where the HFPA just weren't really into A Star Is Born that much, and the industry will like it more. A Star Is Born hasn't missed anything when it comes to industry awards so far. It's been nominated everywhere. And I think if it makes WGA, that shows more strength. I think Cooper easily makes it into DGA. He's probably winning first time director there. So A Star Is Born's still going to be winning awards, and obviously songs are lock. And Oscar voting hasn't even begun yet. And I think there are going to be people in the industry that won't want to see Cooper go home empty-handed for his film. So yeah, I still think he's in this race, but Malek and Bale, I think, are 1 and 2 right now for actor, and I think Cooper's in 3rd. For actress, we had Olivia Colman win comedy actress for The Favourite, and Glenn Close beat Lady Gaga in drama actress. That was kind of a surprise. I know that Glenn Close is, as I mentioned in my previous video, has this overdue narrative, and I think she is now probably number 2. I think Olivia Colman is going to win the Oscar. But Close has showed, I mean, the ovation she got, the speech she gave was terrific. Olivia Colman also gave probably my favourite speech of the night, but Close had a very powerful speech, and she's somebody now that can use that in her favour, and I think a lot of the actors that were there that night fell in love with her if they weren't already. So I think Close really is in this to win it. I think Gaga, I don't think she's going to win the Oscar now. I think the Globes were her best chance and she didn't win there. So I do think this is between Close and Colman at the moment. I think Colman is winning BAFTA. I'd be shocked if she didn't. We love Colman here in the UK. She is one of the best actresses in the country right now. So BAFTA won't turn their noses up at her. So it really comes down to SAG. I think if Close wins SAG, then I think she has to be the favourite. And I think if Colman wins SAG, then she's the favourite. I think if Gaga wins SAG, that will be a surprise, but then that will put her back in the race. But for now, I think the state of the race is that we have Close versus Colman. The only thing I don't like about the Globes is I think that they split the categories. It makes it really hard from a awards pundit perspective to try and navigate the race. It makes it harder because we have to think, well, if they were in the same category, who would they have gone for? And that always makes it harder. So that's my take on actress. For the supporting races, I think, barring any more backlash against Green Book, with obviously the controversy over, well, you can look it all up. You'll see what I mean. But I do think Mahershala is now almost a clear front runner. I did mention in my previous video though that the Globes often like to do a makeup win, and obviously they didn't award Mahershala for Moonlight, which they should have. So his win last night could have been an award to say, okay, sorry we didn't give you it for Moonlight, but now here's your award for Green Book. So I think we have to wait for SAG. I know I keep saying that, but until we have SAG, it is still hard to say who the favourites are for sure in these acting races. It's going to be interesting if Richard E. Grant can try and take SAG. Sam Elliott could take SAG. He wasn't nominated at the Globes. So I think if he wins there, then we have a 50-50 race between Ali and Elliott. But I think for now, Ali has to be the favourite. He rides this wave of support for the film, and if Green Book is to win Best Picture, you'd imagine one of the actors are winning. And I think Viggo's a long shot, so I think Ali is the acting wing for that film. And as for supporting actress, Regina King won, and obviously we have that strange SAG snub or whatever, but I think King's win last night really cements her as the Oscar frontrunner. I think of the 4 acting categories, she may be the most locked. I don't think SAG matters now. Obviously somebody like Christoph Waltz won Best Supporting Actor without SAG, so I think she's pretty safe for a win. I think whoever wins SAG is just number 2, and SAG could really go anywhere. I'm not sure how much they like Vice. Yeah, we do. Obviously, it got snubbed for Ensemble, which for an ensemble like that, it's not a good thing for the film. So I do think Amy Adams is still not really a strong contender. Emma Stone could win. Rachel Weisz could win. We could have Emily Blunt win there. I don't think it matters who wins supporting actress at SAG. I think they're number 2. I think Regina King is winning the Oscar. And another category which I think I'm fairly confident on now is director. Alfonso Cuarón took the Globe last night for Roma, and I think this is the start of his sweep. Obviously he's been sweeping most of the Critics Awards as well. I think his directorial achievement is undeniable for the industry, and I think Cuarón is very well loved. He won for Gravity a few years ago, so I think Cuarón is pretty safe. I think he'll win DGA, he'll win BAFTA, he'll win the Globe. It's going to be a straightforward walk for him. I want to talk about Roma for a little bit, because I do think in a year where it's been hard to say that we have a clear front runner, and obviously A Star Is Born losing last night, Roma can definitely win this category now. It can win Best Picture for sure. I think it does well on a preferential ballot, because nobody hates Roma, nobody dislikes Roma. You either love it or you respect it, and I think it does well on a preferential ballot. I didn't love Roma, but I very much respect it. I think it's a fantastic film. I think it's so well made, and you don't need to love it to appreciate just how much work has gone into that film from Cuarón, this passion project of his. So I think it wins a lot of votes, and I think it does well on a preferential ballot. And obviously if Cuarón's going to be up there winning director, then why aren't people going to vote for it for picture as well? So I think right now I would probably put Roma number 2 behind Green Book, I think, for the Best Picture race right now. I think both films have leapfrogged A Star Is Born. As for the other races, screenplay was a big win for Green Book, as I said before. It beat out some tough competition, and it strengthens the film. Foreign language film, obviously we already knew it was going to go to Roma. That kind of cements its place as the front runner there. Shallow on song, there will be no surprises at the Oscars. It's one of the best songs, in my opinion, to come from a movie in years. So I think it's a very straightforward win. It would be a shame if that ends up being A Star Is Born's only win with the Academy, but I'm still holding out hope. And as for original score, which went to First Man, Justin Hurwitz won there. This is still a race which I think is fairly up in the air, just because, you know, First Man isn't the strongest film, but I think the buzz for Mary Poppins Returns has slowly faded away, and I still think Emily Blunt gets into actress, obviously, but I think in terms of wins, it's probably not as comfortable in score as I thought it was going to be. And I think First Man is still a very big tech player. It made the Ace Eddies today, so I think we could now say that First Man is a front runner in score, but I think it's really hard to say. I think there's a lot of films that still have a really good chance. Black Panther still has it as a shot in this category. As for films that didn't do so well last night, obviously I've touched on A Star Is Born. BlacKkKlansman didn't win anything, and it didn't show any strength. But again, it doesn't really hurt it. I think sometimes we tend to put too much stock into the Globes, and we forget that these aren't industry voters. They're just journalists that are voting on these awards. So I think if you are a supporter of any of the films that didn't do so well last night, such as A Star Is Born or BlacKkKlansman, you know, still hold out hope until we have PGA and DGA winners and WGA winners and BAFTA winners and SAG winners. We cannot say for sure whether a film is out in front, but all I do know is that even though I'm not the biggest fan of the film, I think Bohemian Rhapsody winning Picture Drama is the most exciting thing that could have happened from an awards race perspective, because now this race is completely up in the air. We have no idea what's going to win, and it is made for one of the most exciting Oscar races I think in years. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Globes themselves and where I think the race now stands. I will probably do another video in a couple of days to react to the BAFTA nominations, and hopefully have a couple more film reviews out this week as well. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you all later.